Hi people, Bear back again. Right, well, we're bringing you right up to date. Today's the 19th of January, and we'll just show you where we were on the last video we did on this, on the Bankroll, Zoom Bankroll Challenge here. We had 16,000 hands, just over that, and we were down 206 bucks. It was pukements, as you know. If I bring it right up to date, which is the 19th, we have been grinding our little ass off here, really working hard. We've now got 22,909 hands, nearly 23,000 hands, and as you can see, we're climbing back up. We've done a few adjustments. We've analysed stuff left, right, and centre. We've basically been working our socks off, man. And thank God the hits have not been as bad as they have been recently. Still had a session this morning where I got my kings cracked against aces. I got a big hand cracked again earlier on, but even with those smashes, I've been able to climb it back up. So as you can see, we're about 84 bucks down. It was only about 60 bucks, but we took a bit of a dip there in this morning's session. But as you can see from the EV graph, technically speaking, I should be up. And by the way, just so you know, because Stars has been crashing on me constantly, it's been a right pain in the ass. That 80 bucks down should only be 60 bucks because there's $20 in profits there not accounted for, because when it crashed the hand wasn't actually saved on there. There's a couple of hands that have not saved which are worth $20. So technically speaking, it says I should be up about 30 bucks here. That should say 50 and that should say minus 60, but hey, we'll play with a handicap. Minus 20 start on this Zoom challenge, why not? It's been one hell of a roller coaster. So since the 9th, we've played 22,900 hands. Don't know how that really is, and bearing in mind I've got all the other things I'm doing as well, I don't think that's too bad, but I've been really pounding the volume to try and turn this around, and I don't think that's a bad effort pulling that back to where we are just now. But hey, it's a long way to go. There's no way we're dealing in minuses. We don't deal with minuses. So what I'm going to do is going to play through a couple of the big hands in the last sessions, 2 wins, 2 losses, and then what I'm going to do is show you the stats of my top 5 hands, because basically, statistically speaking, 50% of my profits, or in this case losses, but 50% of my profits should be coming from my top hands. So I'm going to let you have a look and just show you how those hands have fared, because when you see some of the stats on them, they really are pretty gross. In comparison to the return on investment on the hands that I've had. But give me a second, I'm just going to get that data for you just now. So here we go, bring up the first hand here. So we'll do a couple of losses first. So I'm in the small blind here with ace queen suited, really good hand, 6-handed. So I raise it up, I get 3-bet. So in this situation I just elect to call. I could 4-bet, but you know, this guy's pretty tight. 3-bet percentage is small. I've got some decent volume on him, so I expect him to have a decent hand here. So I hit the queen, I got top pair, top kicker, backdoor nut flush draw. So really this is pretty good for me just now, you know. So I check, and he bets the buck in, standard looking c-bet, so I just flat it. Really nice hand comes for me here. With regards to the jack, as long as he hasn't got jack queen or a set. I now have nut flush draw plus top pair, so this is looking pretty decent. It's 380, I check, he bets 220, so he's still betting decent here. Again, firing 2 bullets wouldn't surprise me. He could have king queen, ace queen. Hope he hasn't got anything better. So I call it off. 5's a blank, 820 in the middle, he's got 7 bucks, and he puts 4 in. And I'm like, oh, it just looks strong. It is strong. It's just, you know, under half the pot. I don't see how I can fold blind v blind here. So I make the call, and I'm like, ooh, please have king queen or something like that. You know what I mean? But he turns up the goodies, like saying it's just one of those hands. It's just standard blind v blind. That's just pretty unlucky. So I think we lost the minimum on that. He didn't get the other. If he had shoved, he could have got an extra 3 bucks there. But I think he might have been worried about queen jack, whatever. So obviously he just elected to get the definite call there. So here we go, the other hand in this double session. I got in the big blind again, a really strong hand, 6-handed. I got a pair of kings. It's a raise out in the country. I 3-bet from the small blind. He 4-bets me, and I found myself in the blind, sometimes playing some of my big hands a little too passively. In this case, I got the second best starting hand. he is a tight player, and I'm thinking, well, if you've got Ace King, you're probably going to put it in. You've got Queens, Jacks, whatever, you're going to put it in. There's no way, there's no escaping this. And if he's got aces, then c'est la vie. So I like to get it in. He obviously snaps off. It's 7-8-3, 9, deuce, club on the river, and he obviously turns over aces. Cooler, nothing you can do with that. So hey ho. Next hand here, I'm under the gun with a pair of fours, so a raise, got a flat caller. 10 comes out, and it's 6, 7, 10. So I like to c-bet that, which is okay. I mean, checking now is just giving up the initiative and just basically bailing. So we bet it out, which is fair dues. We get a flat call, gin card on the turn. Obviously, as long as he hasn't got something like 8, 9 in the hole, which is always feasible with Zoom, especially when Bear's playing. So I'm thinking, well, okay, cool. Pay the board and I'll be even happier. You know what I mean? So I like to bet out 90. I just get a flat call here. Queen on the river. And I'm like, I'm a wee bit like, okay. So I go for a value bet of $2, and he raises me up to 5. And I'm thinking, is that sodding 8-9? Is that 8-9? Surely he'd have made a move on the turn. And if he's hit queens on the river, then that's just pukements. Don't get me wrong, I've hit him on the turn there with fours. So I'm like, ugh. But it's only $3. It's a $10 pot. I could have checked called, to be honest. But then I'm potentially missing a lot of value there by doing that. Because, if he's got ace 10 or something like that, then I'm just missing out. $2 is probably guaranteed to get paid. But when he raises me up here, I don't see how I can fold here with over 3-1 odds with a set. I just don't see it. So I make the call reluctantly. And he's made it cheap enough for me. And lo and behold, he had a set of 10s on the flop. So, bummer there. Really, bit of a bummer. But the good thing is, the number of losing big hands I've cut right back on. I have been a little bit more cautious. I've picked my spots, and what I have done is, in some spots, I've lost more of the minimum rather than the maximum. So that has helped a little bit. At the same time, the run has not been as bad. Don't get me wrong, you've still seen some of it. There's some shit out there. But I've also maximised some of my winnings as well. So I'll show you some of those hands just now. So let's have a look at this one. He's got ace jack. I'm in the small blind. So we get a standard looking raise from a pretty loose player on the button here. I do have some history on him. So I like to raise him up with ace jack. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think flatting's just allowing the big blind to come in for super cheap price. So we raise him up and he just calls. The flop comes down, jack, deuce, 7, and I got the ace of hearts for the backdoor flush. And like I say, I have some history on this guy, Nadal. So we've got top pair, backdoor with top kicker, and backdoor not flush. If he had aces or kings, I'd expect him to play it harder from the notes that I have on this individual. So I go 110 into that. I think that's okay. And we get him to come along, which is cool. 5 comes. Again, looks pretty safe card for me. So now it's a bit harder now. Trying to get the maximum out of this if I can. And obviously, if he's going for a flush draw, I do have the ace blocker. But at the same time, I don't want him getting it in cheap. So we bet 320, and I think that's okay against this opponent, especially if he's looking to get there. And then he raises me up, and I'm like, that really is a bit puke. Have you hit a set? That's the first thing that comes to mind. But I'm just thinking, I just don't believe this guy. And I'm thinking, well, the diamond on the turn, maybe he's got a diamond draw now. So if he has something like ace king or ace queen with a diamond draw, he could easily make that move. And I'm thinking, okay, well, I've got the ace of hearts, so I don't see him making the move with a flush draw on the flop because I've got the nut flush, okay? So what could he have? Could he have maybe king jack of diamonds, something like that? And he's decided to make a move with more diamonds. So I'm not prepared to give this one up at this stage. We're still pretty deep. He's got 18 behind. I got 19 behind. So I like to make the call here. I just don't believe it. At the same time, I do have the blocker for the hearts. If a heart does come. And I thought, is he making a move with the diamond on the turn there? Heart comes on the river, and I'm thinking, right, well, I just don't believe a heart run here because I've got the nut flush heart. Do you know what I'm saying? And I'm thinking maybe he's missed his draw on the 5 with the diamonds. So I check, again, putting some pot control in there. There's 19 in the middle, 15 there. If he jams, then it's going to be a serious decision here. Do I believe him? Has he got a set, or is he just trying to make a move here? So he makes a very strong bet here. He doesn't jam the whole lot. He keeps 8 behind, so he makes it look strong here with that. And I'm thinking, this just doesn't add up. It does not make sense. I have the ace nut flush draw. Okay, if he had a set on the flop, I expect him to make a move on the flop with the flush draw. Okay, if you hit a set on the turn, I mean, would you float Jack 7 deuce flush with a pair of 5s? It doesn't. It just didn't make sense to me. And I'm sitting there, and I type a wee note on the chat to try and see if I can get something him to say something. And I'm saying this doesn't add up. You know, I got the ace of hearts. This doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And I'm waiting for him to tweak something or say something, because sometimes you can get a tell that way. And I just what the hell do you have that makes sense here? You know, because on that board, on the flop, you know, I'd expect more action. So unless you've miracled something that I've missed here, I just didn't believe him. So I spent a good chunk of my time bank working this hand out, going back to the beginning, working it out, then obviously looking at the notes there, and thinking, no, this doesn't make sense. I think he's making a play. So I make the call, and lo and behold, he had king queen. So I was right on that one, so I was really pleased with that. So right assessment on that. He did make a move, and a tasty pot, and a good call off there by Bear in the end. As I said, it just didn't add up. A lot of it didn't make sense, and with all the notes I had on this guy, and the way I worked out the hand, I thought, no, I don't believe this, and I made the call. So that was a good one. Nice. And that was a tasty pot. Yeah, that pot was worth about 18 bucks, would you believe it? Right, on to the next hand here. In this winning session, we've got King, Queen suited. You notice how a lot of these hands are in the blinds, which is a bit of a bummer. Makes it hard to play when you're out of position. So we get a raise. It's blind v blind. So I raise them up here with King, Queen suited. Heads up, this is a really strong hand. Should not be feared. I got 51 behind. He's got 11. And he 3-bets me. Now, I have position. This hand obviously can be crushed if he's got ace king, ace queen. You know, can be completely dominated. But at the same time, I just no way am I giving this up this easily. And I'm thinking, well, if you've got something really strong, then good on you. But I'm going to see a flop here, and something just said this doesn't add up a lot of the time. So anyway, we hit the flush draw. It's 8-4-3 with 2 spades, and I got 2 overcards here. I have position on my opponent. There's 480, and he's got near enough a full buy-in behind. So we're deep enough, and obviously you can see here, Bear's got 50 bucks, so I'm doing pretty well. So he puts in a small bet of 160 here. Okay, below half the pot, and I've got king, queen suited here. Well, obviously I'm not giving that up. There's no need to raise. You know, I have position. So it almost looks like he's scared here. So has he got something like ace jack, ace queen, ace king, and he's missed? Because think about it. You can't have ace queen or ace king suited because I've got the blockers to that, all right? And on that flush board, low flop board, you know, I'd expect him to bet a little bit more if he's got a really top hand. So that's the first clue that, hang on a second, maybe he's not hit it. Then, boom, gin for me. Obviously, what I don't want to see is another spade on the river, because that would be bitching. So, in comes the flush for me. I have second nut flush. You know, I'm happy with that. And unless he's got something really sick like ace of jack of spades, which would be just puke, you know, I'm pretty confident. He's got 788 on behind him. He goes 420. That's him committed. Okay? So, I'm all in. You know, I'm not pissing around here. He's only got 368 behind. There's no point flatting here. I do believe he's committed himself. He calls it off. I'm in there. No spade on the river. Bob's your uncle. Fanny's your auntie. And I'm just saying, boom. And there he had 8-9. So he was playing me blind v blind. He hit top pair. He got 2 pair on the turn. And he just went for it off. And unfortunately for him, I have the king queen, and it's dancing all the way to the piggy bank on that one. A little unlucky, you could say, but I mean, he's really playing this aggressively. Blind v blind, so I don't mind his aggression, but you know, that cost him in the end, so I'll take that one. Thanks very much. We'll bring on to the next hand. I got ace 4 suited here, so raise under the gun, standard. Get a call on the button. So it's me v button. It's 4, 5, 6. So I've got bottom pair, backdoor nut flush draw, 75 in the middle. So go for a standard C bet. Just get a call. And I'm thinking, okay. Nine of spades comes for me, which is actually technically a potentially good card. Don't get me wrong, if he's sitting there with 7-8, I'm just going to puke. But there's 155 in the middle. He's still got nearly a full buy-in behind him. I got 13 bucks, and there's only 155 in the middle. So I've got a pair and a nut flush draw, which is quite decent. So I check now, slow it right down, thinking that, I'm a wee bit worried here. He's called on a slow flop. Has he got an overpair? I want to try and get to that river as cheap as I possibly can, because I do want to see a card. If I bet now and he raises, then that puts me in a really awkward spot. So pot controlling this, so I can call basically within reason any bet. So if he bongs a buck in there with what he's got left behind, plenty of money to call it off. So he checks it back. Okay, and I'm thinking, okay, well, it'll be interesting if a spade comes. And lo and behold, you'd answer. The spade comes. All right, so I now have the daddy. Okay, I cannot lose, which is nice. So I put 90 into a 155, trying to tease something out of him. He's got 998, and he goes and lumps it in my face. And I'm like, serious? I'm like licking my lips here, man. It's like the bear has got the peanut butter sandwich and is just chowing down. Delicious. So I thought, would he call if I stuffed it in his face? And, rather than just do a little bet, I thought, you know what? I mean, if he's hit a flush, then he's gonna. I don't see him folding if I pump it in his face. If he's been unlucky enough to get a flush as well, so I just shove it right down his throat, and like the big tuner he is, he just gobbles it right up. And lo and behold, would you believe it? He turns up 7-8. He slow played his 7-8, and then makes a ridiculous move and calls off a big shove, right? With a flush hitting on the river. So there's a classic example of shouldn't be slow playing the nuts. However, bear in mind there's only 155 on the turn. He bets pot. I'm still calling him because I have all those outs, with regards to the flush. And, there's plenty of money behind it to nail him to the mast. So that was poorly played on the river by all four Rainbow, but I'm not turning that money down, man. I will gladly snuffle that up. So next hand, I got queens under the gun. These have actually cost me a fortune. And once I've gotten through this hand here, people, I'll show you one more winning hand, and then I'll actually go through some of the stats right from the beginning of when we started this Bankroll challenge, so you can see where I'm coming from with regards to how difficult this has been. So we raise up, and we get a 3-bet from the button. So, he's got 9 behind. I've got 12. I can easily 4-bet this. I can also just flat it. So in this situation, it's one of those ones where, okay, I got a really good hand here, and I like to just call this. Again, ace king, ace queen, stuff like that. Overpairs. Well, there's only 2 set overpairs that beat me, and I don't want to scare my customer away. Not only that, I also know this guy raises a shed load. He loves to 3-bet. So I don't want to scare my customer away. At the same time, I can reassess things on both flop and turn. But as I say, I want to keep my customer here. And at the moment, I think I'm in decent nick here. So anyway, it's like kaboom. Can you get a better flop? No, obviously, if he's got quad 10s, we're puking. But because we won the hand, we know that's not the case. So it's 10-10 queen. 195. He's a pre-flop aggressor. So obviously, simple check for Bear. And he checks back, which is really weird. I thought, okay. 5 comes out, club draw. So I put a little buck bet in. Again, it's tasty, it's small, and, maybe he's trying to slow play an ace 10 or something silly like that. Or maybe he's got ace queen. So he calls. And jack on the river completing straights if he had ace king, for example. If he had jacks, that gives him a full house. The only hand I'm scared of is quad 10. So really, it's like ka-ching for me, in my opinion. That jack actually helps me. So, and potentially hinders him. So, I thought, and you can see there, I've jammed it in his face. And the reason why I jam it in his face is, I genuinely think, well, what 3-bet me on the button, okay, in that position? Jacks could do it. Aces could do it. Kings could do it, and ace king could do it. So I'm thinking, what hands does my opponent have that potentially could get called or over jam? Okay? And, if he's got 10 jack, potentially. So I'm thinking I want to try and get max value, and I don't do this very often. This is not common for Bear, but I genuinely have put him on something like an ace king, pair of jacks along those lines, and he could easily have ace 10, and he's looked to slow play it, and he thinks right. So I've put him to a tough decision here, but at the same time I don't know why it was. Maybe it's just a sixth sense here. I genuinely thought this guy's going to call me off. I did think he's going to call me off. And do you know what? It didn't take him long. He bet my paw off, right? In he goes, and he does call me off. And do you know what he had? Jack Queen. Ba-bam. Jack Queen. Ta-da. So bingo for Bear, and a tasty one there. But and it just shows you, like again, he's got a good hand, it's suited connectors, it's on the button, he plays it aggressively, a call, but really, I actually expected a better hand than that to call me. But when he showed Jack Queen, I thought, that is a bit ropey. Another hand here, I'm in the big blind. Button raises. I got King Queen, which is a decent hand, so I 3-bet this, don't I? Yeah, I 3-bet that decent. And he likes to call. He's got Ace Jack, and I've got a gutter here. So I'm like, ooh, well, I got to represent the ace here. I can't check this. This would be just, well, I could check it, and I have checked it before, but I want to take the lead on this guy, and I don't want to just give it up in this spot. So I like to put in a tasty, interesting bet here with 98. I would do that, by the way, with a flop set, ace king, ace jack. So the bet size is exactly the same as if I had the daddy. Okay, and he just flat calls me, and then bingo, absolute bingo. We hit the straight on the turn, so we're not going to moan about that. There's $4 in the middle, so I just put 2 in. Again, I'm trying to tease it out of him, thinking, well, all right, will he go for it now? Has he got 2 pair here? Has he got his set? Obviously, I don't want to see a pissing heart on the river, because that would spoil my action, and I really don't want to see the board pairing either. So I was thinking, right, what's he going to do here? Because he's called me off, and he's called the flop. So he just calls again, and I'm like, interesting. So obviously, I'm now praying, don't pair this frigging board. Do you know what I mean? Queen comes on the river, and I thought, shite. There goes all my pissing action. But he's only got 592 behind, and I'm thinking, how am I going to get paid here? How am I going to get paid? I thought, what's he got? What's he called me off with? I thought, is it ace queen? Ace king? Well, ace king, splitterments, obviously. Ace jack. I don't, I'm sitting there, maybe a set, but surely he pumped it by now for a set. So anyway, in it goes. Simple as that. 592, and it's just pray he calls me and doesn't have the king. But I just don't see any other hand calling me there, unless it's a king. But so standard, put it in, obviously. He snap calls me off, and I'm like, okay, fair enough. What you got? Ace king, and I got lucky on the turn. And no, he had ace jack. And I'm like, what? What? Like that. So he slow played his ace jack. And I'm really quite surprised at that call on the river. Really surprised, especially how quickly he called off there. But I'm not going to moan. I'll take that every day of the week. Tuners will be tuners. Right, and we'll play the last one in this session here, people. Let me just get that bigger for you. Sorry, just so you can see that. Get it nice and big. There we go. So we've got a pair of 10s here. Mid position. We got a limper. I raise it up. Get a call from the small blind. I know this guy's pretty loose. He does like to see flops. And we get a call. So we go 3-way with 10s. And then it's bingo! Absolute bingo with 10s. And I'm thinking, it's so hard to get paid when you hit quads. It really is hard. But the flush draw could be handy for me as well. So we get a check. I check, obviously. Everybody checks. There's a little 3 out there. Well, I'm thinking, well, maybe an ace will call a bet here, So this guy now leads out. And I'm like, okay, have you got a little 3? Because that would be interesting. So I thought, I'll just call it. Okay. 7 comes. And he bets really decent here at 160. And I thought, have you got a 3? And I thought, well, if you have, I might get some more out of this puppy. He's got 738 behind him. At the same time, he may not believe that I've got that 10, or even better, quads. And I thought, has he got an ace and he's trying to make a play here? So, in for a penny, in for a pound. And I thought, well, if you got a 3, I could easily get the whole remaining stack off him here, the way he's played this. Obviously, he can't have a 10. And if he has something like ace something, he may well call me off if I jam here. Alright, so rather than just going for a little raise here, I just lump it in here and put him to the test. Thinking, 3, I think I could get a call here. Ace, he may be stupid enough to make the call. So, and he may think I'm making a play with the ace. So, lo and behold, he does snap me off. So there's plenty of value here if you find the right spots. But obviously, I can't lose his hand. So it's easy play for me. And lo and behold, he turns up, would you believe it? Ace 4. And he thinks I'm making a play with the ace. So, and obviously he wanted to try and gamble the rest of his stack for a split. So, tasty, man. Tasty. So there you go. That is the sessions in question. So there's the graph right now. So technically we should be up. I said there should be another 20 bucks on there because of the stars crashing, which doesn't show. But we're actually still minus 84 bucks. So we've still got a long way to go here. So still a bit of a grind, but got a bit of respect back here. But it's been one hell of a roller coaster ride. As you can see there, I have been getting a good poning here. So whilst I'm running these stats here, a couple of things I'll share with you with regards to Zoom is it is very swingy. You can go on massive downswings very, very quickly. You can get sucked out left, right and centre. So it's a real good test in the Zoom of your mental strength. And it's a matter of going back and reassessing and thinking, well, where am I going wrong? What am I doing? Am I doing something really wrong here? Am I playing too much? Blah, 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 and all this sort of stuff. So I will share some tips and hints on what I'm doing to try and obviously turn this around. But no, it's a ball breaker. I have to say, Zoom is a ball breaker. The only winner in this is Stars. They are raking it in big time and they're loving it. So we'll wait for this to populate, and then I'll come back and just show you how my top 5 hands have done. So here we go. We'll bring up Ace Ace. I've had it 101 times, right, from, hang on a sec, nearly 23,000 hands. I've had Aces 101 times. I've only won 60 bucks. Which doesn't really, if you think about it, even at a 10% strike rate at $10, that does seem a bit low. But if you look at the winnings here with the aces, look at this here. A 12 buck, 11 buck. I've had like 4 stackings out of 101 hands. That's it. The rest have all been small fry. But look at the number of times I've been getting pummeled. 19 bucks, 11 bucks, 10 bucks, 10 bucks, 8 bucks, 7 bucks. So my aces have been cracked. Shedload more than I've actually won with them, which is a real bitch. So you can see I've not done very well there with my aces, with only 60 bucks out of 101 hands, and cracked more than I've won. Kings have performed worse. I've had them 122 times, and I've only won $47, which I think is absolutely gross. Look at the times they've been cracked here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stackings there. Well, I've won a few back, but I mean, I really have taken a pounding on those kings. If you think about it, 122 times I've had kings, I've only won 47 bucks there. So that's pretty sick. Queens, as of yesterday evening, before this morning's session, were actually minus $3. I've had them 100 times. I'm only 8 bucks up with queens, which is just get real. And you can see here, number of times I'm getting pummeled with them. And they've just cost me a small fortune. Queens have. I mean, I'm slightly up now, but as I said, up till yesterday evening, I was down about $2-3 with queens, which is just like 100 times, and I'm barely over the profit margin with queens. Something not right there, I tell you. Jacks haven't been much good to me either. 107 times, only won 22 bucks, and you can see here it's been not ideal playing those puppies. And then we'll get to Ace King suited. That's a laugh, by the way. Bring that up for you. Ace King suited as of yesterday was only $2 up. Today it's now up to $27. I've had that 73 times, but only $27 up from Ace King. Suited is not ideal. And I believe my best performing hand, or one of them, is Ace King off, which is ironic. Let me show you this. I'll just get that for you. And then we'll end up calling this a day. And here we go, people. Last stat I'll bring you here is Ace King off. That's actually my top performing hand, which just doesn't add up, does it? 80 bucks on Ace King off from 230. I've had that 230 times. So it just shows you. There you go. So that's how some of the top performing hands have been doing with this run. So it just shows you. Not been getting the rub of the green. But hey, we just got to keep going, man. It should equal itself out. It's all about maths and statistics in the end. And if I keep getting these hands and make sure I don't play them stupidly, then you know, hopefully I'll get the rewards in the end. So there you go. That's a summary, people. So that's where we are just now. Just to recap, we're above EV. Well, we're not above. Money-wise, we're down 84 bucks. The line is above. We're the positive aspect. Little hiccup at the end there, but we'll hopefully turn that around and just keep going up the wing. Let's get this back, man. Let's get these Ruskies pwned. They've had a good run so far, so it's my turn, man. It's my turn. So we're going to be streaming tonight at 8 o'clock UK time. Please come along and join in. Lots of giveaways to go. And on the live streams, we're going to cut it down to 2 tables so I can actually get involved with a wee bit of banter. And I'm not pissing around with all these tables and trying to press buttons to bring zoom in options and all that, which is a bit distracting when obviously we're playing fast tables. So on that note, wish us luck, people. We need some positive energy. So come along, join in, and fingers crossed, we'll keep this graph going in the direction it's been going in the last couple of days. Take care. Bye now.